Hello everyone, welcome to a quick guide on the basics of Java program. I am Sanjay Verma and now I am going to discuss some essential topics you need to start with Java. So before Java, what is a programming language? A programming language is basically what you use to tell the computer what to do. So it's like giving instructions to a robot. Oh, and out of all the programming languages, Java is one of the most popular. It is because one of the best thing about Java is that you can write your code once and run it anywhere. So basically, you can run the code that you wrote in your computer in any other computer without making any changes. Okay, now let's learn how to give simple instructions to our computer. Firstly, we need a place to write our instructions or code. We can use something called an IDE, which means Integrated Development Environment. Even though it sounds complicated, it just means a software in which we write and run our code. There are many famous softwares like Eclipse, Code Blocks, PyCharm, VS Code. And today I am going to write our programs in VS Code because that's the best thing. That's the software I have the best experience with. So if you don't have VS Code, you can just download it by clicking the link here. I mean, the that video explains how to download it pretty good. So let's write our first code. Okay guys, so let's start. First, let's just create a file, Java Basics, and the end should always have the extension .java. And after this, public static void main. Um, no need to overcomplicate this part. Just think that this statement says that Java Basics is our file name and the public static void main. This is called the main function. So basically, the execution starts from this function. And you should basically always have these two functions in your code, and whatever the code you are writing should always be between these curly brackets. So let's just check that there are no errors. System.out.println hello world. So once we try and execute it, we get hello world. Pretty simple. Basically, this statement tells the computer to say this. So whatever we write inside this double quotes, the computer just prints out as is. Okay. So now let's go to the concept of variables. So what are variables? Variables are basically like boxes in which we store values. So let's, for example, take this int a is equal to 5. We are creating a box a which is of the integer type and which has the value 5. What is an integer? So this is basically predefined thing in Java. So there are many predefined classes in Java with which we can make variables. For example, in this case, it int, which means an integer. So integer of variable name stores a number, and string. There is also a class called a string. What is a string? Basically a word or a sentence. And words and sentences should always be inside double quotes. Sanjay's name. See, simple. This too is correct. There are also many different types. For example, char. Char A is equal to O. We should not use the same names, by the way. B is equal to. This is any symbol. It doesn't matter. Number, letter, symbol. It just doesn't matter. For example, like this. We can just print these things by mentioning them inside these curly brackets without the double quotes. For example, let's put name. Let's see what happens. Sanjay is the name gets printed out. But if we keep them inside double quotes, see what happens. Just this thing inside the double quotes gets printed out. That's the basics of variables. And how do we make decisions in Java? We use these things called if statements. So I will just explain them to you with an example. For example, let's have a variable int a is equal to 5. And this is how it works. If a, uh, let's see, we started the condition if a is less than or equal to 12. System.out.println, you are a kid. So currently it satisfies because a is less than or equal to with this. Yeah, you are a kid. And uh, we can give extensions to these conditions by writing like this: else if a is more than 30, more than 12, system.out.println, you are an adult. That's good. But there are no situations where this is less than a is less than 12 and a is not more than 12. It should always be between these two. And if this thing fails, that is, if there is an error, you can always use this else block, which gets executed when none of the above statements gets executed. And you can just write something like error. You are probably an alien. Yeah, simple enough. So what happens here? If it is 15, you're an adult. Simple. That's like the basic thing about decisions. Okay, so after that comes loops. What are loops? For example, if you want to, print a statement for 1,000 times, what are you going to do? Probably write the system.out.println and say name is name and just copy paste like 1,000 times for repeating it 1,000 times. But instead of that, we can do something like this. This is called a loop. No need to understand it from the beginning. Just remember this format for now. Equal to 1. Int I is less than or equal to the number of times you want to repeat something. For example, let it be 100 here and I plus plus. And inside this here, just write the statement you want to be repeated for 100 times. Uh, let's just write a system.out.println statement and let's just repeat my name. See, it is getting repeated 100 times with me just writing the code once for like 2 lines of code. I am able to repeat it 100 times. So this is how the loops work. And there is also another thing called nested loops, which is basically a loop inside a loop. Let's just replicate the other above code, but let's just replace the I with the j. And how many times do you think this code is going to run now? So how this works is for every iteration in the outer loop, the inner loop runs 100 times. So basically the outer one runs 100 times and for every iteration of the outer one, this thing runs 100 times. So basically the code runs 100 into 100 times, which is basically 10,000 times. So yeah, see, it won't stop. Yeah, it will take a lot of time for us to get to the end. So yeah, it works like this. So that's the main basics of Java, which you have to know to get started with Java. So if you like this video and want more videos like this in the future, please subscribe and comment. And thank you for watching.